Hello guys, I am Hemant Kumar Nayak and I want to practice my English. That's why I am in front of camera and practicing my English with thermodynamics, chemical engineering, interview questions and answer. So let's start. First question of thermodynamics. I'm sharing my screen. First, first question is state the third law of thermodynamics, give its in limitation and importance. So the answer is third law of thermodynamics says that the entropy of a perfectly crystalline substance or each element of the entropy of perfect crystal of each element and a compound is zero at absolute zero. So it will be entropy of perfectly crystalline substance at absolute zero is zero. At absolute zero temperature is zero, and the limitations are if any disorder like impurity or imperfection is found in a substance, then the entropy of such crystal is non-zero at 0 Kelvin. For example, the entropy of pure carbon dioxide and nitric oxide is 0 at 0 Kelvin. This shows that there exists disorder in the arrangement of such molecules. The law is applicable only to pure compound. Thus, we can say that this law is not applicable to glass, which is supercooled liquid. It is also not applicable to amorphous substance and subcooled solutions. And importance of third law of thermodynamics is, with the help of this law, thermodynamic property can be calculated and the chemical affinity can be measured. This law helps in explaining the behavior of solids at very low temperature. Explain the laws of thermodynamics. So here we have laws of thermodynamics like first law, second law, third law, and also zeroth law. So first I am going for zeroth law. Zeroth law, if any two subsystems are in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then they are also in thermal equilibrium with each other. For example, if A is in equilibrium with A is in equilibrium with B and B is in equilibrium with C, then A is also in equilibrium with C. So the zeroth law of thermodynamics is basically telling equilibrium, thermal equilibrium. So if A is in equilibrium B is in equilibrium C, then A is also equilibrium C. So this is the important. And then the first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can only be converted from one form to another. Okay. And second law, first law is also law of energy, and it tells about internal energy of the system. And second law is telling this law states that all processes in nature tend to occur with an increase in entropy. So ever increase of entropy. So entropy of the system is always increasing. So this is the main concept of second law. And the direction of change always lead to increase in entropy. And it is always going to transfer from high temperature to low temperature. And third law is stated that the entropy of a perfect crystal of each element and compound is zero at absolute zero temperature. And the next question is, explain the following terms: isolated system, open system, and closed system, and give example wherever possible. So, isolated system is a system that can neither exchange matter nor heat. So, this is the main thing, and with the surrounding is known as an isolated system. For example, water placed in a vessel that is closed as well as insulated. Closed and insulated and open system. A system that can exchange both matter and energy with the surrounding is said to be an open system. For example, a reaction taking place in an open vessel exchanges both energy and matter with the surrounding. So closed system is a system that exchanges only energy and not matter with the surrounding is said to be a closed system. For example, a reaction taking place in a closed metallic vessel. This is the thing. Write a short note on gives free energy and derive the equation for the same. So we have to answer gives free energy. Okay. So this thermodynamic quantity state that the decrease in value during a process is equal to the useful work done by the system. It is denoted by G, and mathematical equation is G is equal to H minus Ts. It is gives free energy is also maximum work that can be performed by the system. So this thermodynamic quantity states that the decrease in value during a process is equal to the useful work done by the system. Okay. So, where H is enthalpy and T is absolute temperature and S is entropy. For isothermal processes, we have delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S is known as Gibbs Helmholtz equation. So this is important. This equation is very much important. And delta H is equal to delta H minus T delta S is important. The next thing, why entropy decreases with increase in temperature? Entropy decreases with increase in temperature. So we know delta S is equal to delta Q by T. So here entropy is inversely proportional to the temperature. So as temperature increases, entropy decreases. So this is the concept from which we can tell entropy decreases with increases in temperature. Right? Next question is, why different types of sound are produced in different bikes? So they run on silicon engines. Engine specifications are different in different manufacturers, like bore diameter, cc, ignition timing, also the exhaust passage takes more responsible for sound. How much watt means 1 horsepower? So it is a equation. 1 HP is equal to 746 watt. And explained by the rear wheel sprocket working. The rear wheel sprocket works under the principle of ratchet and pawl. Definition of octane number and seated number. So octane number is defined as the percentage by volume of isooctane in the mixture of isooctane and normal heptane. It is the measure of rating of SI engine. Seated number is defined as the percentage by volume of normal seated in the mixture of N-cetane and alpha methyl naphthalene. It is the measure of rating of CI engine. Next question is, which mechanism is used in automobile gearing system? So differential mechanism. And next question is, when crude oil is heated, which hydrocarbon comes first? So first natural gas, that is gasoline at 20 degrees Celsius. And next How to calculate bearing number, Ti diameter of the inner and outer? Answer. Divide the soft diameter size by 5. It will give last two digits of the bearing number, and according to type of load, we have to choose the type of bearing, and that will give prime number of bearing. So this is important. What is the significance of entropy? So entropy is a degree of randomness of the system. So as per the second law of thermodynamics, any heat input to the system, heat engine cannot be converted completely into useful work. Some energy is lost, and that is called unavailable work. And the amount of unavailable work increases as the entropy increases. What is the difference between heat transfer and thermodynamics? Is also important question. So the answer is heat transfer deals with the energy analysis, which in transition and depends on the modes of heat transfer like conduction, convection, and radiation, or combination of many modes. Heat transfer deals in non-equilibrium domain and conditions, while thermodynamics deals with the study of system at equilibrium and does not depend on how heat transfer is calculated. At which temperature thermal radiation can become zero? Not possible, because thermal radiation becomes only zero at absolute zero temperature, which can never be attained by the third law of thermodynamics. Difference between tube and pipe. There are always a debate between differentiation of a pipe and a tube. Pipe is always designated by its inside diameter ID, because main purpose of pipe is carry. So while the tube is always designated by its outer diameter. Pipe's thickness is sometimes called H schedule, and tube thickness is gauge. As per the tolerance basics, tubes requires higher tolerances as to that of pipe, and tubes are more costlier in manufacturing compared to pipe production. Difference between flywheel and governor. This is not important for chemical engineering. How many laws of thermodynamics are there? There are three laws of thermodynamics. First law, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one in any process in an isolated system. The total energy remains the same. Second law, when two isolated systems is separate but nearby region of space, each in thermodynamic equilibrium in itself, but not in equilibrium with each other at first, or at some time allowed to interact, breaking the isolation that separate the two systems, and they exchange matter or energy. They will eventually reach a mutual thermodynamic equilibrium. The sum of the entropies of the initial isolated system is less than or equal to the energy. Third law, as temperature approaches absolute zero, the entropy of a system approaches the minimum. Okay, at absolute zero temperature, entropy of every perfectly crystalline substance is zero. State laws of conservation of energy. According to the laws of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Okay. Is the boiler a closed system? Yes, definitely the boiler is a closed system. What is Carnot engine? It was being designed by Carnot, and let me tell you that the Carnot engine is an imaginary engine which follows the Carnot cycle and provides 100% efficiency. Okay, so Carnot engine is basically follows Carnot cycle and it provides 100% efficiency. Which formula forms a link between the thermodynamics and electrochemistry? Gibbs-Helmholtz formula is the formula which forms the link between the thermodynamics and electromagnetism. Delta Hs by R equal to delta ln P at 1 by Tx. Which is the hardest compound known? Diamond. Diamond is the hardest compound. What is Hess law? According to the Hess law, the energy transfer is simply independent of the path being followed. If the reactant and the product of the whole process are the same amount of energy will be dissipated or absorbed. Which has more efficiency, diesel engine or petrol? Of course, diesel engine has the better efficiency out of the two. Explain the second law of thermodynamics. The entropy of the universe increases over time and moves towards the maximum value. The entropy of the universe increases over time and moves towards the maximum value. Due to ever increase of entropy, and we cannot transfer it from low temperature to high temperature. It always be transferred from high temperature to low. This is the main concept behind second law of thermodynamics. How do we measure temperature in a wet bulb thermometer? Wet bulb temperature is measured in a wet bulb thermometer by covering the bulb with a wick and wetting it with water. It corresponds to the dew point temperature and relative humidity. What is bending moment? When a moment is applied to bend an element, a bending moment exists in the element. What is the Newtonian fluid? A Newtonian fluid possesses a linear strain relationship curve and it passes through the origin. The fluid properties of a Newtonian fluid do not change when any force acts upon it. So, a Newtonian fluid is a fluid which follows Newton's law of cooling, and it says stress is directly proportional to rate of change of strain. Uh, so how many joules is 1 BTU? 1 BTU is equal to 1055.056 joules. What is PS? PS is per day stored. Explain Otto cycle. Otto cycle can be explained by a pressure volume relationship diagram. What is annealing? It is a process of heating the material above the crystallization temperature and cooling after a specific time interval. This increases the hardness and strength of the material. I am stopping here. And,